Call the meeting to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Carbonetti,
Present.
Albertson,
Present.
Creviston,
Here.
Grieshop,
Here.
Hereley,
Here.
McCafferty, Patnaude.
Here.
Quorum is present.
Your motion to approve the commission meeting minutes of February 6, 2024.
I make a motion to approve the minutes as slated from February 6th.
Second. Clerk, please call the roll.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We're open the hearing for Gateway Properties, Thomas Zawarta. Petition is seeking the Planning and Zoning Commission's consideration for variation on the required sidewalk yard setback in the R4 zoning district of properties on 8th and Sage Lane. Is there any public comment on other than the hearing?
Live on Sage Lane, that's why I got the.
Is this about the hearing?
Yes.
This is just about the agenda to start out with. You'll have time in the hearing to speak.
And please step up to the mic.
Staff reports. Donovan, do you have anything to add to the written staff report you've submitted?
Thank you, Chairman. Just to say that tonight's consideration is for Lot 73 on Sage Lane and lots 4 through 9 on 8th Avenue. The other lots, if he moves lot lines for adjoining lots, he doesn't need to get a variance for them, and that is per our Unified Development Ordinance, that's permitted for an administrative approval. So tonight's consideration is just for Lot 73 on Sage and 4 through 9 on 8th Avenue. Thank you.
The hearing was published per statutory requirements.
Yes, it was published in the Northwest Herald on March 16th.
Please enter the certificate of publication, petition, and staff report into the record.
Will do so. I'd also like to note that certified notices were sent to adjoining property owners within 250 feet of the subject property.
Petitioners, step forward and present your petition, please. State your name, please.
Tomasz Zawierta.
Could I get you to raise your right hand, please? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Want to present your petition, please?
My petition is for building my duplexes, and we are looking to get a wider property setback on Sage Avenue. The lot is 769, I believe. Yeah, so my property lot is 68 feet wide. I need 69 to be able to put the duplex for the setbacks. So we're looking for 1 foot setback. And same story is on the 8th Avenue for each duplex we are looking.
Commission, do you have any questions of the petitioner?
This is just lot 73 first.
We got 1 lot on Sage Avenue and 5 lots on Sage Avenue.
Right. But
Oh, sorry, on 8th Avenue.
which issue is he talking about now? Lot 73 or all?
All of them.
All of them. So lot 73 is only a 1 foot variation?
Double. Sure.
What's the lot size? Answer Mike's question.
I would like to, I'll step over. You will explain all the sizes.
Is Engineer Al Schmidt, assisting him with the designs. But anyway, so it's a setback. We're not making lots wider. They're just a little bit too narrow for the units he's building. So it's just 1 less foot of setback on lot 73, and it's 3 less feet of setback on lots 4 through 9. So.
You have a quick question. So you guys also own lots 10 and 3 3 as well, or are those owned by other property owners?
Lot 10 right now is being built on, and it meets the setbacks already. So 10, 11, 12, and 13 are already under construction, if not already occupied.
All right, and I know 3's currently vacant, I believe.
Excuse me
3 he
one
does
second.
not own.
Excuse me 1 second. It's a technical procedure. You need to be sworn in first.
Sorry.
Could raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Please proceed.
So for
Answered
lot,
your question, I'm sorry.
so for lot 3, do you guys own that lot, or is that owned by?
We do not own Lot 3,
Okay. That's a
or
question.
he does not own Lot 3.
So you own lots 4 through 13? And you already have dwellings built on 13, 12, 11, and 10? And so what happened? I mean,
Those lots conform. They're wide enough.
right, well, all the lots conform according to zoning because a 66 by 132 has adequate amount of square feet.
I see what you're saying.
8712. So what happened when the client bought the lots and saw that he should have saw the same thing we're looking at? So what is it? He just wants to build the same dwelling or he's unwilling to change his plan?
That's for Thomas to direct.
Okay.
I would like to build exactly the same houses in the entire street. Of course, they're going to look different, different color, a little bit different outside. But I would like to keep the same shape of the house, so the whole street, when I'm finished, will look exactly the same. So it's not going to be every house going to look different. I just want to look
they be-
nice and clean.
Will they all be owned by you or will they be sold?
No, I'm keeping them and I'm renting them, which they
So
already rent.
They'll all be rental units.
Correct. High rent.
I mean, so he's going from, instead of, 12 feet between them, well, he'll have 9 feet between them. And I do see, between two of the buildings you've already built, I saw a big V for drainage. Is that, any of these setbacks affecting any of your drainage plans?
No, we're still working with that. We're going to do the final grading when the weather will come.
Uh-huh.
And then we'll redo it. Everything what we have to do over there.
And those drainage swales were designed with the original subdivision. Those were the homes that touch each side of it. Those get reviewed by our engineer to make sure that the grading doesn't change, that'll impact any neighbors or anything like that.
Is there a significant reason why you're deciding to go 3 foot further south rather than north towards your existing properties?
I would like to get all of them done, one over there, and looks equal the same distance. And it's easier for me to build it what we have already plans.
I don't think that answers
So,
my question.
okay, so you're saying going north or south?
Yeah, for the adjustments you guys asked for were,
Which property you are,
I'm
number?
looking at 8th Street.
8th Street.
And to be fair, the one
I
on lot
don't,
73
doesn't really matter for me if I go north or south.
Well, for all the plans that were submitted, the exemption that you guys are looking for, the variance, is southbound on the property. And
Correct.
I'm asking why that specifically, why not north on the ones that are bordering properties that aren't yours for that 8th Street, for that 3 foot?
How much we got more? We can squeeze north.
Like, does it make a difference which way you go, is the question.
'Cause I'm slightly concerned on whoever owns lot 3.
That's my point, too.
That's my, if he can move it like you said, so that the setbacks are in a normal position between lot 4 and lot 3.
And then everything else, just instead of going 3 the direction
Right.
you are south, go 3 north.
That's, yeah,
Okay,
that's fine.
because the
That's
other
not a
thing is,
problem.
like, with 73, that's between 2 existing houses, but that's a 1 foot.
It's not negligible.
That's my questions for this so far.
I don't know who the record owner, I'm sure whoever owns lot 3 was notified, I don't know if they're here. Looks like they are. So, that would be my concern if his could be moved around so that the setback between 3 and 4 remain as slated.
also building the ones on Fourth Street?
On which street?
Fourth Street?
No,
You're not building
I'm only building on Sage and 8th Street.
Additional questions?
Commissioner, got any other questions?
No.
No. Anybody from the audience have any questions?
Thank you. My name is Joel Berg. I live in Harvard, Illinois. We own the property behind at 1403. Thank you. We own the property behind. You're going to need to stand up here because I have questions. It's questions. It's 140. We own 1503 9th Street.
Can I get you to please raise your right hand
Of course.
for me? Thank you.
But I'm
Do you
only questioning. I'm not testifying yet.
Well, but they'll
course.
take care of it right now. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, what is the front facade transparency of your buildings?
What will be sizing?
What is the front facade transparency of your buildings, please?
I'm not sure what I'm asking.
What is the percentage of your front facade pursuant to the Illinois, I'm sorry, pursuant, give me one moment.
Chairman, I would ask what this has to do with the variance. And
Excuse me.
if you want to have this back and forth between a petitioner and,
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I don't know who's speaking.
I couldn't hear you.
So Donovan's question was, what is, the question, the actual question before the committee is asking for a change of the plot lines, correct? So you're asking a completely different topic.
Correct, so let me please make an offer of proof. First, I'm going to point out as a point of order, I asked for the rulings and the things. To have a staff member make an objection is inappropriate. It's appropriate for the committee, most appropriately the chairman, to make the objection, or for him to make the objection, because this is an adversarial proceeding where they bear the burden of proof pursuant to our UDO.
I didn't
And
object, I
under
asked the
the
question.
UDO, excuse me, thank you, I'm speaking. Pursuant to the UDO, under the UDO, and I'm referencing page 52 of 137, please. Under page 52 of 137, you will note that there are 5 requirements for all one-family and two-family dwellings within the boundaries of the city of Harvard in an R4 zoning, in any zoning district. There are 5 requirements. Yes, I
You
apologize.
guys are looking in the book, it's page 8-7.
Yes, please, everybody get to it before I even ask the questions. It'll make way more sense. Now, the whole purpose of the UDO, the way I see it, and again, this is part of the offer of proof. I'm not yet testifying. I'm responding to the relevance. The relevance is these buildings don't meet any of that. End of discussion. Read the zoning requirements, please, for these buildings. The UDO prohibits a building that is dominated from the front by a garage. Read the clear language. It says that you cannot exceed 60% of the width or 22 feet, whichever is greater, as a proportion of the front facade building line. And the way to measure it, by the way, because again, it's in there. Read it. Paragraph 4. When you have 2 garage doors joined, you measure it, if it's 1 garage door, from edge to edge. If you do that here, there's 16 feet. If there's 2 garage doors joined, you do it from outside edge to outside edge of the 2 garage doors. In other words, you include the center pylon. That is the clear language. When you do that here, these are non-conforming. So they also need to ask for a variance for that, pursuant to the UDO. They also need to ask for a variance for transparency, because the UDO requires 15% transparency. They're before the committee, the zoning board, asking for a variance when they need to be asking for a lot of variances, because these buildings are not legal under the UDO. And it is incumbent, it is actually your position and your responsibility to determine what that language is and whether they meet it. That is the relevance of my question. May I please ask it and request an answer?
Well, it's got nothing to do with this hearing. It's not what was published.
Yeah, but Jim, most respectfully, the problem is if you rubber stamp this, then the city council the city staff that has already issued building permits on this, where it is unlawful and where variations were required, Jim, they're going to turn around and build this. And they have asked for an insufficient number of variations. If you authorize them to build this plan, you have authorized everything, including unasked variations. And that is the problem. You cannot rubber stamp unasked variations unless notice is appropriate. And they have not requested it, and if you approve it, Jim, then you're gonna approve this whole thing. That's the problem, and you can't get around it. But even if it is, if you wish to rule on it and say the objection is sustained, then I'll ask the next question.
That's the next question.
Thank you very much. What is your drainage gonna be for the remaining 6 units that you're gonna build on 66-foot wide lots?
On which street you said?
8th Street has 66
In the
foot
back.
wide lots.
That's the way how it's designed. Everything is designed.
But are you gonna have, for example, Board Member Grieshop clearly drove down there and saw the swale that is existing nowhere else in the city of Harvard, which is a swale that literally joins one building line. And I mean the building, in a parabola 4 or 5 feet deep, that, by the way, had running water in it when I came here, deep running water.
It's running because I did clean it. That's why it looks like that. It's big because if you look like other ditches, they overgrow, so you don't really see them how they looks like, how big they are.
Have you done any drainage study to determine?
That's my engineer.
Then I'll ask the question of him. Have you done any drainage study to determine what adding this much impervious surface to an area that is already drainage sensitive? And to remind everybody, already drainage sensitive, because this right here is a massive drainage easement. And when you drive behind it, you see a massive ditch that also has running water. So this is a very sensitive drainage area. Have you done the study to determine whether impervious surface addition of the kind called for here is going to impact that? And if so, what are your findings?
We have not done those studies. They were done with the subdivision design.
Yeah, I would encourage you guys not to answer any questions, but that is
You
correct.
know
They
what?
were.
Do I have to? I mean,
Whoa,
do I
whoa, whoa, whoa,
literally-
whoa, whoa.
He's not.
You had a chance to ask a question. We have a staff member that's answering or making a statement. Give him a chance.
Most respectfully, I'm asking the questions right now. Again, I asked for how this meeting runs, and I asked for what you're going to be using. So if you could just please explain it so I don't step on your toes anymore, I'd appreciate it. Can people just speak willy-nilly as they wish? Mr. Leone, you appear to be running it.
I'm not running this meeting. I'm just,
the one that interrupted
I'm here
me, not the
to,
chair.
I'm here to serve to make sure that things don't get out of hand.
You asked about drainage and Donovan's trying to answer you.
All right, have you done the impervious surface?
The drainage stormwater plan for this whole subdivision was designed appropriately. It starts over on Sage Avenue. There's a multitude of ditches. Several of them haven't been maintained. The only one that has been maintained are the ones that Tomasz has maintained to date. We, in this, I believe it's in the upcoming budget, have authorized our engineer to come up with a maintenance plan for those ditches because the homeowners haven't maintained them. Originally, this may have been designed to have an HOA that would have maintained them. So to hear water flowing in them is a plus in my opinion. And all the sheet flow goes into these ditches. What doesn't get taken in by the earth and then flows to the pond north of there.
I'll ask the question again, and I'll ask it of you, sir. I apologize, I don't know your last name. Have you done an impervious surface study?
Okay. The requirements, it was done previously when this subdivision was designed. The requirements for each of these lots is stated in the Unified Development Ordinance that they can't exceed a certain percentage in impervious surface. If you're asking about a study, we reviewed each particular building plan that he submitted so far to make sure that the impervious surface isn't exceeding what the code requires.
Please correct me if I'm wrong, sir. Turtle Crossing was subdivided in 2005. Right? And in 2005 is when they did all those studies, right, sir?
Correct.
When Turtle Crossing was subdivided in 2005, it was subdivided as pure R1 with all single-family residences per 66-foot wide lot, correct?
I'm not sure what it was previously zoned as.
Well, when was it rezoned R4? Because prior to the adoption of the UDO in 2018, we didn't have such a thing as an R4 district. We had R1, 2, 3, R55, and RT for townhouse. We didn't have an R4. So,
R3 was for two-family back then.
correct. But this was R1. So how can you use studies that are A, 19 years old, and B, premised upon the assumption that you're going to have a bunch of single-family residences when now you're putting two-family residences on the same lot size?
There's already two-family residences within the subdivision along, is that 4th Street?
Again, most respectfully, please let me point out, the question is, you reference the fact that we don't need a study because in 2005, Turtle Crossing already did a study, and that's why we don't need it. My point is their study was for a bunch of single-family houses, and now you're doubling the density. Is that right or wrong? Or can you answer it?
Can you repeat the question? I was looking at the map. Sorry.
If you look, that's all right. If you look at the map, Turtle Crossing was originally set up for a bunch of single-family dwellings. That's how it was zoned. You can look through the history of the city of Harvard zoning. That's how it was zoned. We had no R4 that would have allowed it. Prior to 2018, it was August of 2018. And at that time, correct me if I'm wrong, is when R4 came in. Prior to that, you actually could not build any multifamily dwelling units anywhere in Turtle Creek. And if I'm wrong, please point it to me.
I don't have the previous zoning map in front of me, so I don't know that it was zoned R1.
So the answer is you're relying on a drainage study that you don't know whether or not it's valid given what they're asking for, which is to put oversized two-family houses on a 66-foot wide lot.
In a subdivision that already has existing two-family homes.
But again, no drainage study has ever been done even for them.
Well, I don't know.
If you wish to argue with me all night long, you may. I'm just asking the questions.
I believe those were built around
Thank you
2007.
very much for your time.
2 years after the subdivision was platted.
What is the difference if I build 5,000 square feet house? It's single homes. I can build a 5,000 square feet house and I will cover more surface than my duplex if it's single.
And any one of those homes that are existing, any one of those homes that are existing could get a 9-foot driveway extension. We wouldn't do a stormwater study for a 9-foot driveway extension. So again, I don't know what this has to do with the variance, but
How wide are these driveways then? How wide are the driveways?
Width of the garage.
How wide is that?
I don't remember on top of my head.
I'm sorry.
40 feet.
So driveways are 40 feet wide on a 66-foot wide lot. Is that lawful? And can you grant a variance for that, sir? Can you grant a variance for a 40-foot wide driveway on a city lot?
the only requirement for a driveway width is after you get beyond 50 feet into a lot. And at that point, it can be no wider than a certain dimension. The garage issue that Mr. Berg brought up previously, we've gone round and round a couple times on the phone already. I thought this was handled. But the garage issue requires front-loaded attached garages are limited to 60% of the width of the front building line, and he stated that, or 22 feet, whichever is greater. 22 feet is greater, so the front-loading garage can be 22 feet. However, it's a 66-foot wide lot. There are 54-foot wide homes. You divide that, you take 66, multiply it by 60, that equals 39.6. You divide that by 2, that equals 19.8, okay? So a 19.8 wide garage. Then you go up to the section that he cited previously, and it states 2-car garages. Let me find it. Garage width is measured between garage doors. In the case of garages designed with multiple garage doors, the distance is measured between the edges of the outermost doors. So Mosh, your garages are 16 feet wide? 16 and 16 is 32, and how much is in between? 3 feet? 3.5 to 4 feet. So at the most, 36 feet. 66-foot wide lot divided by 54-foot wide structure with 66 multiplied by 60% equals 39.6. Now, Mr. Berg will point out that in the UDO, it references the building line. And if you look at the picture on page 8-7, the building line under letter C it's got a dimension that goes left to right of the building. But if you look at the definition of building line, which we go by, the definition states a line measured at the building wall of a structure between parallel lot lines. So you don't go the width of the house, you go from left lot line to right lot line. So the garages are in compliance. We don't have dimensional standards for driveways unless it's in the apron, and like I said, beyond 50 feet. I don't know if I brought that with me. So the garages are in compliance. If you look at the homes over on 4th Street, I believe it is. What's after Sage there? Is that?
9.
Oh, 6th Street, I apologize, 6th Street. Those garages have the space in between them, but if you were to put the garages together, it'd be the same scenario. We'll also bring up facade. The facade is the same thing. There's applications within the UDO that allow for administrative approval for certain design standards.
Wasn't in this diagram under C, is it measured?
And that is what Mr. Berg has stated several times. However, we go back to the definition. And the definition of a building line, because C says, front-loaded attached garages are limited to 60% of the width of the front building line or 22 feet, whichever is greater.
Still gotta add in that post from edge to edge.
But if you go back to the garage definition, or the garage width, is measured between garage doors. So from trim to trim. And then the building line, as stated
Why
previously.
is it in C going from edge to edge?
It's an error. You gotta go back to
Error
the
for the last
definition.
how many years? Over 6 years?
Hasn't come up. I don't go by the pictures, I go by the definitions and the words.
Looking at those buildings out there that are already done, it's 40 feet. Outside to outside.
Not the garage doors.
Front loaded garage door.
But again,
Edge of building, edge of garage, edge of garage.
it defines the garage width is measured by the doors. So you could argue all day, does it look good, yes or no? But we have to go by what the UDO states, and that is what staff followed when approving this. Mr. Berg brought up the 15% transparency requirement. The 15% minimum transparency requirement applies to any facade and is calculated on the basis of the entire area of the facade. Does the facade include the garage? That could be an error on staff's part. I don't know, I haven't measured the windows, so I couldn't tell you, And again, we look at these as individual addresses, not as a whole unit. So the one large window up top, the window in the door, and then there's a smaller window, I don't know what that equals compared to the width of each dwelling. And again, there's administrative approval processes within here that if it doesn't meet 15%, you can make application to the city and requesting a variance, if it's 13% or 14%, requesting a variance in the administrative approval process from staff. And it does, if staff isn't comfortable with doing it, we could kick it to city council. There's administrative, minor, and major modifications that are permitted.
Anybody from the audience have any other comments?
We build houses in Apple Valley, and we also farm the land behind Apple Valley. And these are duplex houses going on single-family lots. So if you go over here to 7th Street, these are all duplex lots.
Oh, yeah, sorry, sir, we forgot. Yeah, sorry.
But, I mean, if you go over to
Well,
7th,
can you be sworn in first?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, that's our fault.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing
Yes.
but the truth to help you guys
Yes.
proceed.
So if you go over to 7th Street,
Yeah,
where
right here.
these are duplex lots, they're double driveways, and you have green space in between them. he's building duplex lots on single-family lots, which was not engineered back in 2005. So if you go back and look, like today, it rained a lot, and he didn't clean up the ditch. I mean, we built a house behind 9th Street, and that water has always ran. And it's better to have grass in a waterway because then it doesn't erode. He tore up the grass, and now it's just dirt. So that dirt is eroding going into the retention pond. So there's way too much, there's not enough green space on these lots to take the water. It's all going to flood the streets, and it's also going to flood our farm field that we farm. And if that happens, I talked to my insurance company already because this was not engineered to have duplexes on single-family lots. Yes, there are duplex lots in Turtle Crossing, but he's not building on duplex lots. He's building on single-family lots. And it's going to bring down the appraisals on people's houses. And they're just transient people coming and going. So I don't know where this is all going, but you guys start flooding out my farm field, it's going to be a problem. It takes a lot of money to farm, and we're just letting everybody come and do whatever they want, but we're local people, and we have to follow every rule in the book. When we first started building 5 years ago, we had to follow every rule. Somebody comes in from out of town, and it's a free-for-all. You can ask any other builder that's ever worked in this town. Anybody that comes in from out of town, it's a free-for-all. I mean, I've been doing concrete here since 1989, working for another guy, and I've seen it, and it's not fair. You know, we build nice houses, and their property value is going to go down because we have a bunch of houses that are all the same. It's just a different color, and there's no green space. It's all pervious. You watch, that retention pond this year is going to flood, and it's going to take out a crop over $100,000, and who's going to pay for it? You guys didn't, it's not engineered right. You're building duplexes on single-family lots, which is not designed for stormwater. I mean, it's the truth. I mean, duplex lots are built for duplexes, but a single family on a duplex, you're doubling up the water. I mean, I got video today of the water just running, just flowing away. And you guys all know on Northfield that it floods already. I mean, come on. I farm and we build houses and we do concrete. I've seen it all. And then somebody comes in from out of town and, hell, we just do whatever we want. But we got to follow every rule in the book. Anybody in this town, anybody in this town has ever built, you ask any builder, you guys, we had to follow every rule, but anybody came in from out of town, they got to do whatever they wanted, and then they just left. And left a mess. I'm done.
My name's Robert Felker. I live at the 1313 Sage Lane. That's directly in line with the properties that they're building, okay? Now,
Please repeat your last name.
Felker, F-E-L-K-E-R.
Okay. If you could raise your right hand, please.
Pardon?
If you could raise, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Please proceed.
And, well, the major concern right now, an instant concern, is they totally demolished, we call it our moat, okay? I didn't even know it was a moat when we bought the house. I thought it was a nice pheasant reserve, because there was a ditch going like this here. Now I find out I owe 2,000 square feet from the end of my property line to where it goes under Sage Lane, that I pay property tax on and can't use for anything. I think I got a right to speak about this stupid moat. We moved in 2010, right? So it's been 14 years. The problem with the moat is, especially if they try making it narrow, at least 3 times a year I get flooding over my curb, past my mailbox, sometimes up to the sidewalk. The reason being, the drainage comes from 4th Avenue, not all of it, but several houses down, that comes down to Sage Lane. All of North Avenue from 14 comes down to Sage Lane, and not to mention Sage Lane itself. And then the sewer, where this all meets down to, the lowest point, is 18 inch by 9 inches. It has 7 bars with 9 by 1 inch, so there's very little chance for it to get in there. It just, not like the modern sewers nowadays don't even have bars, it's just an open space. I'd like to see something to do with that. I mean, it's a shame because I know it's a lot cheaper to dig a ditch than to actually put in working sewers, which is what the city should have done in the first place instead of having all these mosquito traps around and stuff. Now, with this construction going on, there's no bottom to the moat anymore. There's ruts. They had the bobcat running up and down. They were cutting trees down. They're unloading wood chips into the thing. So it's going to be a mosquito haven. There's places where the water cannot drain at all. It's just going to be sitting there. That gets mosquitoes get Nile's disease, whoever. But, as much as we're paying for water, sewer, had an extra $25 tacked onto that. I mean, compared to when we moved in, it's a hell of a lot more now. It'd be possible you should check at least to see if you can get a grant, maybe get a real sewer system in, which would just stop a lot of this setback stuff. That's what I want to bring it up more than anything. Now, the storage area that they built, okay, on his houses too, those are going to put more water on there. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Well, you would know. You've been here forever. The Sage Turtle Crossing subdivision was actually built over a swamp, correct? Yeah. So now you have this 40-foot moat, which is 20 feet on my side, and it's supposed to be 20 feet on the other side. It's get a lot of water runoff. Okay, the water's running from there to there. I can show you places where there's cracks, like in the yard. I said, where the hell did that come from? One of our upstairs windows, it's a 2-story house with a full basement, has a crack in it. I don't know if that's from shifting or what. I just wanted to come up, bring this to your attention. Maybe you can take a look at it. Right now, if you look at the condition of the moat, it's almost non-existent. All this water has to go somewhere, and we're getting it all in our property. It's too slow to, what do you call it? What do you call it? Like a viaduct that goes under our street for the water? Yeah. You gotta measure 2 feet high, 4 feet wide, and there's 2 of them side by side with a big centerpiece in the middle. It's actually 2 separate structures, and that'll get overwhelmed sometimes. And I don't know. If you could please just take a look at it, I'd be happy to show somebody around. I'm retired now, so I got plenty of time where I can take you there. Okay, that's all I had.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Sarah Berg, 508 Old Orchard.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So
I do.
okay, thank you.
I disagree with the determination that the width of the garage is not exceeding 60% of the building line. Again, that's under section 8.3H4. And that should, from our calculations, it's about 75% of the facade, the front building line. The other issue is, according to chapter 19.15F1C, parking in a driveway shall be permitted in the required front and rear setbacks for 1 and 2 family dwellings, providing all other requirements of the Harvard zoning ordinance are complied with, except as provided herein. At no point behind the parallel line of the city street and 50 feet from the right-of-way may a driveway width exceed 24 feet or 33% of the lot width, which is less, whichever is less. And at this point, the 40-foot would exceed that. And it's clearly on a 66-foot lot, 1/3 would be 22 feet, would be all that they could do. Now, they could maybe get the 9-foot, but that gives them 31 feet for a driveway. If that, because I believe a 9-foot variance can be given administratively now under the UDO. But you would have to take that 22%, 1/3 of that lot size in order to justify the size of the driveway for that 4-car garage.
Yes.
Thank you. Gentlemen, I just want you to keep in mind a couple of things. Look throughout the R4 district. R4 created something totally new in the city of Harvard. I apologize, I'm Joel Berg, I should have stated that at the beginning, I've already been sworn, I know. It created something new, which was putting a 2-family dwelling unit onto a 66-foot lot. Now, most of y'all have been here your whole lives. You know that we already have these. Go to 4th and Blaine Street, where Dick Holfreder and Dick and Phyllis lived, I think Nancy and Ellen Jones before that. You'll see 2 duplexes on 66-foot lots. One on that corner and one on that, so that is a southwest and a southeast corner. Drive down Blaine Street. Look at where Danny Meal grew up. Look at all of the duplexes there. You'll see them all. They're on 66-foot lots. They're in this R4 district. Now please remember, when you consider a variation, you're supposed to consider the character of the neighborhood and the zoning district. The existent, properly existent 2-family dwelling units, and the ones envisioned, by the way, I believe clearly the ones envisioned by the UDO, are the ones you see on 4th Street and Blaine Street. You know what they have? They have 1-car garages and they're 2-bedroom units. And that's how you can put a 2-family unit onto a 1-family lot. Because it really doesn't use more than a 1-family unit would use. That is the point of the R4 2-family dwelling zoning. When I learned of this going on, I went and looked at everything. I looked at the statutes. And with all due respect to city staff, they seemed surprised that this statute even applied. And I heard 4 different versions of how it applied. And I've heard a 5th version tonight, because literally until tonight, the entire lot width was never involved in the calculation. And what you've heard tonight is exactly what I've heard from day one, which is, here's how I can read it to get to the result I want. Here's how I can read it to get to the result I want. Here's how I can read it to get to the result I want. Here's how I can read it to get to the result I want. And that's not how you read something like this. You read it to determine what result is allowed. And there's a distinction. You read it to figure out what it says and means and to determine what is allowed. The UDO is this magnificent thing. When I was on the city council for 6 years, 20-some-odd years ago, I used to say, and I said it time and again, and I apologize for being a broken record, the reason the city of Harvard is not the city of Barrington is because nobody in Harvard ever bothered thinking like Harvard. And God bless, the city council enacted a UDO in 2018 where we started thinking like Barrington. The UDO requires certain, as part of the zoning code, it requires certain things. 15%. You cannot have the front dominated by garage doors. This afternoon, by the way, I did not hear that description. This afternoon, the description I heard that the city used to justify it was the fact that, oh, well, what we have here is we have two separate, we're treating them because they each have their own address. We're treating them as 2 separate properties, but they probably realize we don't have any 33-foot wide lots here. But the concern that I have with this is literally, in a couple hours, it changed again. And I don't bring this out. Please don't think I bring this out. This gentleman has been an amazing help. He has been an amazing resource, and he's he has put in time. I'm not insulting. But I'm saying you need to give the appropriate weight to it. You see the picture. It is in the statute. I have literally never heard anybody say, yeah, that's our law, but that's a mistake. If only they could say that about the speeding laws. At the end of the day, though, what we have here is we have a picture that very clearly shows that you use the width. Now, even if I use that 16-foot wide garage door thing, let's discuss that for a moment. They have to get the variance to go outside of the building line to be allowed to build a 54-foot wide structure. If they have to stay inside the building line, there's no way those 2 garage doors ever survive. End of discussion. It's literally that simple. But let's really cut to the chase. I'll speak loudly enough so that we can, oh, of course, thank you very much. It's been referred here several times, so let me explain the character of this, because again, we're looking at the character of the neighborhood, and this is an R4 zoning district. Right there, on 9th Street, is 1.5 vacant lots. And we all see why it's 1.5 vacant lots. Because it's a townhouse. All of these are townhouses either on 1.5 or 2 full lots. Look at the picture of what you were given. Superimpose it over this and compare the footprint of the buildings that they propose to the footprint of the buildings directly behind it. They are building a 2-story monstrosity. Drive down there. Drive to 2nd Street. Drive to 9th Street. Drive down Blaine Street and see what 2-family dwellings look like. Look at the townhouses there. The city staff referenced 6th Street. Yeah, those are townhouses. That's the problem. They have authorized townhouse zoning in an R4 district. That is what is going on here. Look at the blue footprint of the property. This is take two houses, and go just like that, and that's what they've done, and they put them both on a 66 by 132 lot. Carv, you live on a 66 by 132 lot? You two don't. I'm pretty sure you do, sir. You don't? Bigger?
74, 132.
Now imagine putting 2 houses on your lot, Mr. Grieshop. Yeah. But it's still 66 feet wide if you look at it from the side, and it's 132. If you look at it from McKinley, it's 66 wide, and on 2nd Street, you're 132 deep. So your house would have two-story structures with 4-car garage. Name me one other property in the city of Harvard. One. Name me one that looks like that. A single one. I would just close with this, please. They have asked you for a variance. They, the gentleman, the petitioner bears the burden of proof. Please remember that. And the burden of proof is given to you in your UDO. Please turn to section 14.4, paragraph E, paragraphs 1 through 3. It's in section 14.4. This is not just this doesn't look like a real big deal, so let's go ahead and approve it. That is not the standard the zoning board is to use. The UDO gives us the standard you're to use and consider when you make this decision. And it says, and if I misstate, please interrupt me. I do not wish to do so. But it says that to prevail on a variation, they must prove 3 elements. Not one of 3, they must prove all 3. The first one, that strict application of our zoning laws would result in undue hardship. I'm sorry, of course. Most respectfully, Mr. Grieshop, you hit this one right on the head earlier. What? Guys, get new plans. You're already building in a drainage-sensitive district. Will you please just get new plans? You know, when I built my house on my lot, I had to get plans that fit on my lot. That's just the way it kind of works. They're not asking for that here. They're asking not just for 1 property. They're asking for 7 lots for a variance. Name the last time you gave a variance. That's essentially a rezoning. You're essentially changing the zoning characteristics throughout. Please remember, when you do this, future developers can point to this and say, you have to give us the same thing, whether it's in your code or not. That's just the way it works. 2, paragraph 14.4E2. The particular physical surroundings, shape, or topographical conditions impose a particular hardship as opposed to mere inconvenience. What is it about these lots other than the fact that they're 66 feet wide, which he knew when he bought them? What is it about them that poses that particular hardship? Nothing. They were 66 feet wide. In other words, it's not as if a portion of this is unbuildable. It's not as if he has other issues. He cannot meet number 2. He cannot meet it. What is his hardship as opposed to inconvenience? Again, you've got to ask yourself. You're the Zoning Board of Appeals. You need to ask yourself, is it an inconvenience to require that you build plans to build something that will actually fit on the lot you bought? Everybody else has to. And number three, the one that, in my opinion, really just determines this. You cannot grant these variations unless they have proven, they've given you no evidence of this, they were expressly asked and they said to the contrary, that the plight of the owner is due to unique circumstances inherent to the subject property and has not been created by the owner. The problem is, of course, it's been created by the owner. It's his plans. He's the one that made the choice of plans. It's his plans. It's not as if somebody else, the typical example is, I can't comply with this because there's some geographical or topological figure, or, there's a huge swale, a huge berm. That's not what's going on here. What's going on here is really quite simply, our lots aren't big enough and we think you shouldn't care. Well, gentlemen, my lady, people care. Thank you very much.
Any comments from the commission? Any additional from the audience?
Sir, you've got to.
You're gonna talk, you have to identify yourself and be sworn in.
Yeah, my name is Xiang Shenghu. I own the weekend lot.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yeah, but I'm pointing out all those lots.
Here, let me give you the microphone.
Yeah, those on the 7th Street, you can see the big lots. And the 6th, this is for the duplex lots. If you compare with, this with this, you can see. Yeah, I think I agree with those. We need to first of all protect the environment. The second way, we need to make sure the drain goes through no flooding. And then the third, we need to consider about the value of the existing owner. That's it. Thank you.
All right, we need a motion to,
Michelle Platt.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Please proceed.
I'm coming to you as the other builder out in Turtle Crossing. I also own 1, 2, 3 lots on 7th or 8th Street. My perspective basically is I set out in this subdivision, it was empty other than the existing houses from many moons ago. And our objective was to create a family-oriented neighborhood. And I still own another 14 lots out there. And I'm just worried that the duplexes they're gonna bring down the property values. Who's gonna wanna buy a house on lot 1, 2, and 3 when the rest of the street is rentals, people coming and going, say they don't take care of the place, you just don't know. And, I take very good pride in the houses that we do build, and I know every single family that is in there. And when they heard of this, they were just flabbergasted. It's like, this is our little neighborhood. They have block parties. They have Facebook groups, and I just think the duplexes are going to bring down the value, bring down the demeanor of the neighborhood. So that's my
we need a motion to accept, to approve or deny the petition.
Motion to deny the application.
We have a second?
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Albertson? You're denying it's an aye to deny. Creviston?
Aye.
Grieshop?
Aye.
Hereley?
Aye.
Carbonetti?
Aye.
Patnaude?
Aye.
Motion to deny the petition is approved.
Motion to close the hearing.
We vote on that sewer first, and we.
No, it's not on the agenda, sir.
That's the wrong committee.
Make a motion to close the hearing.
I second.
Motion made and second. Clerk, please call the roll.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This recommendation will come before the city council on April 23rd at their regular meeting, 7 o'clock.
I have nothing to report. Motion to adjourn.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Chicken just wrote this is worse than chicken.
I'm gonna be second newest chairman here for 2 years now. Okay. We don't get along with new faces, apparently.
I didn't mean to get carried away. I do sincerely apologize, my friend.
I was wondering how long you were going to.
I was too when I saw this.
Now it's time to point out those few things.
I saw some things when I drove by yesterday.
I'm decent.
They made a lot of it.
I know.
I mean, it's like there has to be a record, and it's really right. And so I didn't mean to get mad, but
I gotta stop.
Rear of my back lot is 3 foot on the corner, but I didn't build it.
Yeah, she's probably,
Oh, she's
oh, she's still talking. Take it, just cold, Carb?
No, I don't know what to do.